Yes, here we are. So we have Douniah joining us.
Douniah.
Sorry for mispronouncing your name. And thank you for being here with us. How was the performance? How did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it. I had some sound issues, but
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I feel like the staff was very nice and calming,
Thank
and it was a
you.
nice atmosphere.
Well, first of all, I wanted to say congrats. Like, wow, you're so young and you've done already so many things. You're just 23 years old, and I read about your bio and I thought, what? You have done already beautiful songs that I heard. You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And you've been starting being on stage at 15. Like, and not a school stage. Like, we're talking about real deal here. So, like,
Yes.
compliments for that.
Thank you.
And how come that you? What drove you to stand up at 15 and being like standing up on this stage and writing song and?
So these things were more like, poetry sessions, poetry and singing slams, like events where you would just, present your work for the first time, I guess. Like sometimes it's in a competition, sometimes only just to present, get together with the community and present. So that's how I started. And then just playing guitar to kind of create a vibe for myself on stage. But I don't know. I just started because I wanted to share my thoughts, my stories, I guess.
That's a really good point. And how much your heritage is part of your songwriting and of your creating music?
I think it's like a journey. So when I started, I was writing about whatever. I don't even know. I was writing about whatever was in my mind and kind of on my heart at that time. And when I started the album with John, with the producer from Hamburg, with Hi John, I just thought more about what issues I see with, I don't know, something like Western beauty standards, like stuff that affects me and stuff I have issues with and I struggle with, and then try to make it sound so kind of relatable for some people. So not too many details, but still my story, just like how I feel about it. Yeah.
Like, I feel you, because like I started like my also inner journey, and after having had a lot of issue with body shaming.
Yeah.
Now, as you can see, I said, fuck everything. Mm-hmm. I stand up for myself. And this is who I am. Either take it.
That's the way to go.
Yes. It takes time. Like, I'm 33 and I got to there now. You're 23.
I'm actually 24 now.
You're 24.
You can also say
when
23.
Did you have your birthday then?
In August.
Okay, then happy birthday. And by the way that we are already talking about influences and stuff, like how, what kind of artist influenced your work?
All different kinds. I grew up with a lot of jazz and soul music and indigenous music. I wouldn't say that you can hear indigenous music in my music, not in what I like put out so far, but that's like the music I grew up with. I was very much into indie rock and indie pop. I still am.
Beautiful.
Yeah, like songwriters, singer-songwriter music. People like Bon Iver, like Justin Vernon, or also people like Erykah Badu, people like Raphael Sadiq. So it's like a whole range of people that I'm inspired by, I think, or I've listened to while I was growing up in Hamburg.
And like, I feel like that I can ask you this question because it will make a lot of sense for me to ask you. Do you think that artists can make a social impact in the world? Can help to social change happening? And should they?
Definitely. Yeah, I do think that. I think it depends on from which perspective you view music and what you grew up with. Like the understanding of poetry and music and art in general, I think it's always, or it can always be revolutionary. It can change a lot, you know, especially when it has a purpose, but you don't have to like put all the cards on the table and be like, so this is my plan and this is what I want to do with this. It's just more about a community that can be found with a sound, you know?
Yes.
So totally. Like people that love, I don't know, A Tribe Called Quest, they all have something in common. And when A Tribe Called Quest rap about racism in New York or in the East, people will listen to them and then think about it. Doesn't matter like which skin color they have or whatever, because it's the music they listen to, it's the lyrics they listen to. And as a community of, you know, fans or music lovers, they would internalize that maybe. I don't know. I think it can affect, you know, music can affect you in a very good way as well. Almost, or always in a good way, maybe.
Yeah, for me, like growing up, I saw a big difference between what I thought and reality. Because I am the kind of person that grew up listening to We Are the World. So I don't know if you know that because you're so young, but yeah. I am like one of the son of this generation. Yeah. So like with at the time there were a lot of spots of Benetton and a lot of stuff. So like for me, we are all the same. And it was just later that I saw so many people having so much hatred for people with different like sexuality, skin color, or whatever. And to me, to this day, it doesn't make any sense. Like I am not different than you in any way. Yeah. And our differences can just enrich each other. It doesn't have to make us to move us apart. But this is just my point of view about the thing. True. And what is the first song that you remember writing?
It was a short story of not a little boy, but like a boy in middle school who was or is very depressive.
Okay.
And is an artist and just puts his art everywhere he goes. So he can see himself everywhere he goes. So he feels represented.
So it's not a love story.
It's not a love story.
That's amazing because usually when you hear the artist, the first thing is like the first romance went wrong and they brought a song about it. No. But this is very inspirational actually. And like, what's the end of the story?
The end is that he's not able to put his art everywhere, you know, because that's just not how it works. And so he keeps some sort of ghost in his head that would just follow him around and keeps him from losing his shit.
Okay.
And it's called The Ghost in My Head.
But is it public everywhere?
No.
Somewhere? Okay.
It was for a little bit, for like a couple of years on SoundCloud. So, but I took all of that down.
So we are going to make a remastering of it and then we will hear about it in a couple of years maybe.
Maybe.
There's a comeback to the root.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, okay. And like in this time, like you're very inspired, you said, from jazz, soul, and hip hop. And this is very far from incorporating usually technologies into music. How is your point of view about that? About incorporating technologies into music?
Like just technologies in general?
No, I mean computer sound. I don't know how to put it.
I don't know. It became a part of it, I guess, at some point. I don't know exactly when, but I mean, let's say, for example, synthesizer sounds or just like the whole beat scene, like everything that hip hop also grew with from the 90s on, or like maybe 80s. Mm-hmm. So when sampling started as well, and I think we wouldn't be listening to any of that stuff that we listen to right now if there was no computers involved or programs involved or, you know, drum machines or whatever involved. Because it's just, we love to like make things perfect. Like, I feel like just,
now,
you know,
now it's about like the being perfect. I remember watching when I was little, you can watch it even now, like a huge Italian singer, it's called Mina. And she was doing TV shows, showing in one episode of her TV shows how at the time, we are talking about the 60s, how it worked, the recording of a song.
Okay.
And she had this huge machine in the room and she was explaining to the public how it worked. And she is one that is very inspirational because it's like she's not the kind of singer that did many takes. She did just one take. Either it's good or leave it. Like,
I love that, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I do that often.
Yeah, because like when you make the sound too perfect, it's not real anymore. It became like a plastic song.
That's very true. But it's also not only about making something perfect or trying to I don't know, to make it sound, you know, different to an analog version. It's more about how can we change sounds? How can we recreate sounds?
Yes.
How can we find different sounds, more sounds, whatever? It's more about, I think it's more about growing. And yeah, I think that's just, if you nerd yourself into something, then
if you nerd yourself into something, quote of the day, I love it.
I mean, I'm not really good at that. Like I don't know nothing about machines. I nerd myself into my writing and
like a question is now a lot of singers has problem like hearing their voices when it's recorded. Mm-hmm. What is your relationship with your voice?
I didn't really like it first.
Okay.
I didn't really like the recording of my voice first. So that was in the beginning, because I felt like, ooh, that's just very real. Like someone could just, you know, press play and listen to that and actually listen to it over and over again. And that the first thing that it made me feel was, I don't want to make any mistakes. Okay. And then I had to detach myself from that thinking, because it's not about not making any mistakes. It's more about, I don't know, experimenting and experiencing all of that to get better with it, to like get used to it somehow.
Get better,
yeah.
And what can we expect in the near future from Douniah?
So everything I put out so far is, I love everything I put out so far, but it's been always collaborative work. Mm-hmm. And that's how I kind of stepped I took my first steps in this direction in industry. And I'm working on my own project right now with a very talented producer named Douniah. Shout out Douniah. And I'm very excited. Yeah, I'm experimenting.
And where can we, let's say to everybody, where can we find you?
All right.
On our social platform, and so that then we are going to follow you all.
Okay. Well, I don't like promoting myself that much, but you can find me on Instagram, on Spotify. You can find me. Yes. No worries. It's all good.
Just like repeat the last part. No, now we are back.
All right. So if you want to know more about me and if you want to hear my music in the future, just follow me on Instagram, Spotify, SoundCloud, what your favorite platform is. And I don't know, don't care too much about what I'm doing, just about what I'm
what's the name, the username?
My name is Douniah with an H in the end.
Okay, cool. Then thank you all. I would like to ask trillions of questions more, but the time is up now. But I would really love to get in touch with you and to meet you again.
Yeah, I love that too. Mm-hmm. Let's make it happen.
Then thank you, and
thank you so much.
See you soon.